This episode is brought to you by Love Hurts. Kiwi Kwan has had quite a career, from childhood roles in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and The Goonies to a recent Academy Award win for Everything Everywhere All at Once. But now Ki finally stars as a leading man in the film Love Hurts. Love Hurts is the perfect date night movie with its mix of over-the-top action, comedy, and a ton of heart. Love Hurts, only at theaters February 7th.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to AI Scouted. Irish Power still not here. That's why I'm here. I'm dusting off the old 2016 days where I was on every podcast every bloody day, so apologies for that, people. But I do have Karl with me, so we're at least got half of the full gang. How you doing, Karl?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Our commiserations out to those affected by wind and rain.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if it's going to be every year, I think Ireland's going to have to sell some generators or bomb shelters or something because it's getting more and more frequent. But we are here to talk about the Champions League, Karl. We obviously have a game on Wednesday. It's a tad meaningless. Obviously, we'd like to finish top. But at the same time, I kind of want to see us rotate a bit. So we probably won't spend too long on this before looking at the rest of the Champions League, because there's much more interesting stories there. But we play PSV on Wednesday night, because every game's on Wednesday night, so we get to see 500 games at once, which will be funny. What are your thoughts going into this one? How are you looking at it? Are you going to rotate a bit but keep it strong so we get the job, hopefully get the job done, then more subs, or are you just thinking he'll just keep the team ticking over?
I'd definitely be looking at rotating. I wouldn't be doing Accrington Stanley levels of rotation, I'll be honest. I would still keep first teamers involved, but I would definitely be looking to rest where possible, rotate where probable, the usual ones. I do think that there's enough players have had enough minutes recently, even if they're not starters, where you probably look at them and come in for a game and they should be perfectly fine. And I think if we add in the context of the match to that as well, in that, fair enough, PSV might want to win and go a bit higher and all the rest of it, but reasonably speaking, they're in the same position as us. Like, they're probably guaranteed in the playoffs, even though they're not mathematically yet in the playoffs. But in fact, I think actually they probably are, because not enough teams want to.
Club Brugge play City, so they can't overtake them.
Yeah, fine, so they are actually going to be in it, aren't they? So, if everyone was willing to just shake hands on a 0-0, I think most would take it, because they definitely have 12. We'd definitely have 22. We'd get top spot guaranteed. So that would be the easy way out of it. But I don't want to see too much going overboard. We've not had the most ridiculous run of fixtures of late, if we're being honest. Brentford's obviously a hard enough game, but it's not like the most physical game. It's not like the most mentally straining games when you've played Lille, which is, again, not a dead rubber, but more or less in our hands, and then Ipswich. So it would be nice to just take it a little bit easy, keep minutes ticking over, get a few players game time where they warrant it, and be really ready again for Bournemouth, because Bournemouth at home is definitely a difficult fixture.
Yes, and it's very weird saying that, but they are they are the form team in the Premier League at the minute. So yeah, it might be Dave, it might be me, but we'll obviously talk about that later in the week. But I mean, quick word on PSV. Obviously, the Eredivisie is not. Well, it's never really been at its peak in my entire lifetime, because that was the 90s, and obviously much earlier than that as well. But I mean, quickly looking through their squad, Karl, I'm guessing Johan Bakayoko still the big name there. Is Noah Lang I know of more through reputation than actual performance. Is there any other players you're kind of intrigued by in the PSV squad?
I mean, not on a wider basis than just, looking to see how they do in this league. I mean, they've certainly got other names which are well known. Obviously, Luc de Jong doing the business for them at 412 years of age is an endearing and enduring testament to the not so much quality of the Eredivisie defences. People like Ricardo Pepi, who, when he came over to Europe, American youth talent, let's say, made a bit of a name for himself and hasn't quite gone to plan, so he's there at the minute. Having Lozano is back there again. It never quite happened for him at the very highest level. Yeah, they've got some decent names there. A few names people might remember from the summer as well, Jody Shooten and Rick Karsdorp after it didn't go too well at Roma and that kind of thing. So plenty of players, plenty of talent, lots of, I would say, overall quality, but not necessarily those who have really gone on and reached quite as high as they probably thought they would do initially.
Yeah, that seems like what I'm looking at too. There's a few names there. I mean, I think PSV is still top in the Eredivisie. Probably something I should check. I'm just guessing that because I think Ajax have recently recovered.
4 points clear with a game played more than Ajax. So
perfect. So yeah, they are the best team, but doesn't possibly look like the strongest. I mean, I mentioned Bakayoko there. He's obviously been linked to us. I'm not sure how much of the Eredivisie you actually get to see. We obviously love buying wingers, especially left. I don't know if he's a left winger, but is he someone you think could take that extra step, or do you think he might be one that needs, say, a move to like a League One beforehand, or I don't know, like a West Ham or something?
I think he'd be all right coming straight to the Premier League. I don't think he'd be a starter at a Liverpool level. I mean, talking about, without getting all big-headed and everything, by results this year, we are talking about the best team on the planet at the minute.
Yes.
So I don't think a 21-year-old from PSV is walking into the team, no. He's also usually right-sided, so you're looking at a Salah alternative for that.
Oh, very much not that.
So definitely not walking into the team. But yeah, quality-wise, very, very good player. Not necessarily off the ball where you'd want him to end up, but again, he's 21 years old. He's still relatively inexperienced, but on the ball, his talent is undeniable. I'll be honest, this year, Eredivisie would be just about at nil for me. I think I watched an Ajax game earlier in the season, and that's about it. So it's way off the radar for me now on a game-to-game basis. But people who are playing on the international scene and in the Champions League, obviously you do get to see more of them if you want. I think Bakayoko is probably the only one left there now who I would look at and say looked like he would be good enough to make it a high level. There was plenty of Malik Tillman talk, probably only as recently as 2 years ago. He was at Rangers, obviously, a couple of seasons back, and a short spell at Bayern that didn't go all the way for him. So he's United States international. I think he's again a talented player, but not one you'd look at and say they need to come in straight away and be part of our go-to lineup.
Even Perisic is a PSV, or is this wrong? I thought he went to Croatia. That feels wrong.
He did go there. He did go to Croatia. They were having a bit of a gathering at one point of like all the over 50s at Hajduk Split and Dinamo again, but he's at PSV from this year.
Fair enough. You learn something new every day. Yeah, as we said, it's not the most interesting game. I mean, a quick run through what we think maybe the Liverpool team will be. I'm guessing Alisson will play. Bradley, Kwanzaa, +1. I'd probably guess Van Dijk because obviously Ibu's still up and down fitness-wise. I mean,
this is the kind of game it'd be really handy to have actually 4 centre-backs, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be great. I mean, Matt Phillips is still owned by the club.
It's possible that we could see like an Endo start, for example, but I just see it being Endo and Kwanzaa, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So probably has to be Van Dijk on that basis.
Yeah, hopefully get him subbed off early or something like that. Robbo played at the weekend, so probably Tsimikas. Midfield, Endo, McAllister, Elliott. That feels like too much to me. I think Szoboszlai will be more important against Bournemouth than the other two.
Yeah.
But Gravenberch's played every minute possible. That's not like the FA Cup and the League Cup.
I think Gravenberch needs to come out now for this one. Obviously, like I said, we have had a few games recently where, because it's been the cup against Tottenham, we had the cup against Accrington, we had the Champions League where there wasn't oodles of rotation against Lille, but still we saw one or two people, even if it was off the bench. So I do think that probably we can look at having, if Bradley's coming in, we can probably look at having Endo coming in as well. These are the kind of players who have been not necessarily first off the bench, but definitely getting more regular minutes of late. So I think if we just say one of
Jones might be fit as well, we should have.
That's what I was just going to say. I think if one of Gravenberch and McAllister doesn't start and Endo does, and then you can look at the third one being either Elliott or Jones. If Jones is back to full fitness, then I think he probably starts and plays 45 to 60, whatever it is, and then maybe Elliott. So I think there's definitely scope there to change a few around.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, I'd agree. I think Gravenberch needs the rest more. I think Szoboszlai will be key against Bournemouth, but we can always sub him early if need be. Up front, it wouldn't surprise me if Salah plays. I kind of hope he doesn't, but Salah obviously just wants to break every record. But I'll guess Salah, Darwin. He hasn't really started Chiesa yet, has he? I'd like Chiesa to start, but he probably won't.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I know what you're saying about Salah. I mean, I'd be keen for this to be the game that Chiesa does get a start.
Oh, I agree. I just think Salah will force his hand.
Yeah. Probably the same, to be honest. I think with Diaz starting, it means Nunez will this time. Diaz start against Ipswich, I mean, obviously. So yeah, I'd go Salah, Nunez.
Gakpo against his old club, maybe?
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. And then sub one of them early for Chiesa, hopefully. But yeah, I think that'll be. I don't think we'll see like a midfield of Endo, Morton and Elliott or something like that. That'd be too much. So yeah.
Likewise, I don't think it'll be like an Elliott one side, Chiesa the other. I think
yeah,
two starters, let's say.
Exactly. Quick prediction then.
So away from home, we shouldn't be like too pressure fueled on either side, like I say, because PSV have basically done their job. And while there's definitely scope for them to go a bit higher, the question, as we'll get onto in a minute, is whether or not they actually want to go a bit higher. They don't have the most testing of matches in the Eredivisie immediately following us, but nor have they exactly been ridiculously consistent of late in the Eredivisie even. So I suspect they'll go fairly strong. They've only got 2 wins out of the last 5 in league terms, so I guess stay at full strength for them. I will go 2-1 to us.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar. I'll say 3-1 just to be slightly different. Let's move on to other games in the Champions League. And as I mentioned, every game's on Wednesday, so all of these are on at 8 o'clock. For UK people, there'll be like one on Amazon Prime. It won't be us, so we have to suffer TNT. Probably the best place to start, Karl, is Man City against Club Brugge, which won't be a good game. It won't be that interesting, other than the fact that Man City are currently sat 25th. I just can't, like, I know they've improved recently, and they've had the odds. Look, the PSG game was horrendous, but that was PSG. Other than Simon Mignolet doing funny, I don't see how Man City don't beat Club Brugge. I mean, they win, they get to 11 points. PSG and Stuttgart play each other, I believe. So, yeah, they'd at least overtake one of them. Yeah.
I mean, look, I would say it's incredibly improbable that anything happens other than a Man City win.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I probably said the same thing when they played Brentford, when they played Everton, when they played
Feyenoord.
It has been going on, and probably when they were 2-0 up against PSG. So I still do think that they'll win. You know, they're at home as well. That's you know, it's going to make a difference to Bruges, especially if not Man City themselves. Just even having a look there at Bruges away record, they've lost once in all competitions away since the end of October. The end of August. So good going, but they were fairly comfortably beaten in Milan. They did hold Celtic to a 1-1 draw. It's not really stuff which is screaming we're not losing to Man City. And again, when you look at the context of Bruges in the league, even if they lose and stay on 11 points, it's possibly, quite potentially going to be enough for them. You know, on the basis of someone out of PSG and Stuttgart can't take full points.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Flex your business with an American Express Business Gold Card. You'll earn 4 times membership rewards points on your top 2 eligible spending categories, like transit and electronics, each month, on up to $150K in combined purchases per year. Plus, you can now earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold, built for business by American Express.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? Treating yourself without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
It's Kelly Clarkson here to talk all things Wayfair, the best place to buy furniture, decor, and anything else you can think of to create a home you absolutely love. Some of y'all might have heard I made the cross-country move from LA to New York last year, and Wayfair has definitely helped me create the feeling of home wherever I am. I love a cozy couch and a comfy living room that feels like our little sanctuary for our family. And I love vases, I love candles, I love anything that kind of makes you feel at home and peaceful. Anyway, something about me is I love options when it comes to making my home more me. I know when I shop with Wayfair, I find options for every style, whether I'm feeling boho or farmhouse, modern, traditional, French country. I can find exactly what I need for my home and more. Everyone loves a good deal. I mean, who does not want free and fast and easy delivery? Come on. No matter your space, style, or budget, shop Wayfair.com to make your home way more you.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
There's only Man City and Dinamo Zagreb and Shakhtar who outside the 24 can still get in, and Shakhtar's goal difference is poor to say the least. So
good.
It's and they're away to Dortmund, so that's probably a defeat anyway, if we're being honest.
And Benfica are away in Turin at Juve as well, so it's not exactly an easy game for Benfica to win. So, yeah, it's probably not the biggest game for Bruges. Obviously, beating Man City is a prize in itself. I mean, knocking Man City out of the Champions League would be funny.
I mean, it's ridiculous that we've even got to the point that Man City get to the last extended group stage and must win. Like, they have no option here. They have to win.
Thing is, you look at the games that lost to Sporting, who I know it was a different Sporting. They had Ruben Amorim and everything was coming up roses at that time. They lost 4-1 to Sporting. Like, it wasn't even a tight game. They lost to a bad Juventus side, mid-Juventus side, let's go with, and then bottling a 2-0 lead to PSG last midweek.
After bottling a 3-0 lead to Feyenoord at home.
Yes, exactly. It's not exactly the hardest run as well. I think, was it Inter before that was the only other hard game off the top of my head I remember? It's just been a really weird run. I mean, yeah, Slovan Bratislava, Man City, Slavia Prague, Sparta Prague. Why can't I read today, guy? Holy hell. And then it's that running I just mentioned there. And the first game was the 0-0 with Inter, which is a fine result. So it's not exactly like they've had a really hard run. I'd probably say our run-in's been harder than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a hard set of fixtures across the board.
Yeah.
Juventus, they draw more than they win. We spoke about them the week before last. They weren't in the top 4 in Italy at the time. So This isn't a bunch of elite sides. PSG, we've just mentioned, are still struggling to definitely confirm their own place. So if your only 2 wins are against Slovan and Sparta Prague, or in fact, if it was Slavia Prague, it's really no difference at all. That's not a great campaign.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, it's obviously the most interesting and least interesting because where Man City are, but they will 99% win this game. I just don't see how they ball it.
The only thing I would say is if they only have, let's say, a 2-goal lead or something going into the final 20 minutes and Club Brugge score, mentally, that's a big thing because they've already given up the 3-goal lead because they were ahead against PSG and threw that one away and so on.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have there's no more games after this. Like I say, if they do draw, you're gone, you're done. You don't even make the playoffs. Never mind whatever.
You don't even fall in the Europa League anymore.
No, don't even get that. Your European campaign is done. And from a team perspective, maybe that would be as well for them because they probably need a big reset. But in Champions League and obviously competition and sporting terms, that's as dismally, dreadfully nightmarish as they could probably ever have imagined.
Yeah, absolutely. I never, I could potentially see like a wobble, which probably would have been worse in the old format. But to have this 8 games, which is basically just safeguarding all the big teams, and for be 25th is just astonishing, really. Like, Premier League, whatever. Like, there's good teams in the Premier League you can slip up to when you can kind of age as a squad. We've seen that as Liverpool fans in the last few years of Klopp. But yeah, it'd be 25th with quite an easy-ish run in it. It's just astonishing. Where do you want to move up to next? I mean, PSG is probably the next big name that's kind of at risk, playing Stuttgart, who sit 24th themselves, PSG 22nd. I mean, shake hands at a draw and go through. That might be the best. But PSG, obviously, they've been a mess this campaign, and then it was kind of not a nice reminder, but it was a reminder that there is actually an elite club in there against Man City, because every other week, I mean, losing 1-0 to Bayern Munich, a not great Bayern Munich side. I know they're winning the Bundesliga, but they're not doing great in the Champions League. Losing against Atletico Madrid, drawing with PSV, and then beat Salzburg. Everyone's beaten Salzburg, and then beating Man City in the last 2. But, like, if it wasn't for Man City imploding, I mean, we would have started this podcast or this segment of the podcast with PSG.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we have to go to that game, I think, really, because, like we say, if we assume that Man City are going to win, or certainly should win, that would put them on 11 points. Now, I think Man City are the only ones who have got a chance to get into the 24 from outside it, because Shakhtar, as we just went over, have got Dortmund away, and the only other team who can get in is Dinamo Zagreb. And I did think that they would basically leave everything in this basket because they played Arsenal last time out. They're improbable to win that one. Home to AC Milan. Obviously, it's not an easy game, but this isn't a vintage Milan, as we know. And you would probably think normally at home, a team like Dinamo would sort of put a lot of emphasis on their results there and so on and so forth, except basically they haven't. They haven't actually won a game at home. They're 2 wins in way. So it's possible that they beat Milan, but I don't think it's very, very likely, to be perfectly honest.
The only thing with Milan is they're probably already through automatically.
Probably, but they've also won the last 5. And
yeah,
even a draw for them is like basically the guarantee, wasn't it? So I don't think that they're going to be an easy one to...
Oh, no. I'd agree. I think it's Man City or bust.
And the one qualifier there is obviously AC play Inter at the weekend, so maybe they rotate.
Yeah.
But still, it's not massively likely that Dinamo Zagreb win, which means only Man City can get in, which means only one team can drop out. So the teams who can drop out, therefore, be Benfica, PSG, Sporting and Stuttgart, and those 2 are playing each other, PSG and Stuttgart. So it is the game, I think. It's the one that will affect the most stuff, the most upsets, the most nerves probably as well. A couple of absentees for PSG as well. I think Nuno Mendes is suspended, isn't he? So I still feel that money will win out, which is crap, isn't it? But Stuttgart have not quite done enough. They've won their last 2, which was really important to get themselves in the running, because they played Young Boys and Slovan, and they're basically the bottom 2. Neither of them have a point, and they had to win them, and they did. So they've given themselves a chance, but I do feel it's kind of still relying on somebody else to slip up, because I do still see PSG getting a result there at the very least.
Yeah, I'd agree. Just to add extra context, Sporting are at home to Bologna, who are already out. Although I think they picked up a good couple results.
Yeah, they won against Dortmund, but they are still.
Yeah. Beat Dortmund and drew with Benfica, so their little resurgence obviously came a bit too late. Obviously a lot of turnover at that club. And as I mentioned, Benfica are against Juve, so you'd guess Sporting would be favourites against Bologna. But they have lost 3 in a row. Obviously lost their manager. Actually lost to Leipzig, which seemed like an impossibility. Part of this competition. Lost to Club Brugge and got spanked by Arsenal. And that's when the managerial change happened. I'm not sure how the league form's been affected by Sporting, but that's not good in the Champions League. And Benfica, they should have beat Barcelona. They should have at least got a point last week against Barcelona, and then kind of just forgot to defend. And both goalkeepers forgot to goalkeeper. So yeah, I think Benfica will be kind of reeling a bit, so it wouldn't surprise me if they bounce back against Juve. But any other teams you're interested in? I mean, Celtic actually qualifying. I think, remember, it's the first time since 2013, I believe it was, they said last week when I was watching it.
Yeah, so I think Celtic have accidentally done too well at the minute. Obviously, a game to go, and a lot of this can change because there's only a point and 2 points and all that separating so many sides. But like, if it was to be right now, and like somebody's going to get unlucky here, because if the results work out the way we do, someone who finishes just outside the top 8 is going to get PSG or Man City, and that's like rubbish to have a playoff against them, obviously. But at the minute, I think when I counted the other day, is it Celtic against Real Madrid?
So would 18th,
16th would play 17th, 18th would play...
So it'd be, if it stays as is, it'd be Juve, Real, Celtic, Bayern.
Juve, Real Madrid, and Celtic, Bayern. Right. So, yeah, they've done a bit too well accidentally there. I think they need to lose to Aston Villa, drop down a couple of spots, and give themselves a chance of facing like Lille, Brest, or Feyenoord, someone like that. That would give Celtic a bit more of a fighting chance.
The only thing is there, I think, don't Real play Brest? I'm pretty sure they do.
Some of them are going to change a few positions, but you definitely don't want to be the opposite to that group of like 3 teams in a row: Dortmund, Bayern, Real, Juve, 4 teams in a row. You don't want to be their opposite, basically.
That's true. I mean, if they win, they could overtake Real Madrid. I mean, which would be amazing.
I'll be honest, I don't see them beating Villa at Villa Park, even though they've been a bit scattered.
A bit ropey, yeah, a bit dodgy.
That line, I mean, I know we're talking about PSG and Man City, will they go through, won't they, and all the rest of it, but I think now when you get to this point, if you're in one of the teams who was on 12, 13, 14 points, you're looking at that top 8 and thinking, like, we could really, really do with not playing 2 extra games. And not that there's much you can do about it now beyond win your last match, but if we say, I think the teams who've got 15 are already safe. Like, I know we spoke about it briefly before coming on, so Liverpool 21, Barca 18, Arsenal 16 and Inter 16. Those are already done, other than mathematics, because, maths is going to maths. But Arsenal got plus 12 goal difference, Inter plus 7. I think they're fine. I also think Atletico on 15 and AC on 15 are also going to have done enough. So then it's the 14, 13 and 12 brigade, of which there are a lot of them.
Yeah, and fortunately, I mean, Atalanta Barcelona is probably on paper the fixture of the round, but it's kind of meaningless for one of the teams. But we'll probably come towards that towards the end. I mean, yeah, Celtic have done well, but it will be an interesting, not even a debate, to see where it falls. But yeah, I agree. Aston Villa should win that game anyway. Let's go on to the teams that we've kind of mentioned there in passing, in Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. Real Madrid especially, not a great group stage. We obviously beat them. Milan beat them. They have recovered quite well, beat Atalanta in an exciting game, and of course they beat Salzburg because that's what they do. I mean, there's not. We've seen this story before. Sometimes they'll have a bit of a dodgy spell in group stages, and then in the knockout stages, they just turn into zombies. So whether they finish 21st or 10th, they're probably going to beat whoever the hell they get in the knockouts, in the playoff stage anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's always a big deal made out of it if Real Madrid get a bad result or whatever, and halfway through the group stage, they were, I can't remember if they were right on the edge of the 24 or they were outside the 24, but it's Real Madrid and they have a lot of very good players and they can win really big games. Like, you look at their results that came just beforehand, and like they'd lost to, was it Lille, and obviously ourselves, they lost to Milan, but they smashed Dortmund. They absolutely hammered Dortmund. There was a real back and forth against Atalanta as well, and they won that one. Like, they can win big games just because of sensationally good attackers. And once it is down to do or die games, the knockout games, that not just the Real Madrid quality, but the Real Madrid mentality really, really comes to the fore. Is where Ancelotti's in his element as well. It just doesn't really make any difference to them. Like, I think they're one of the clubs where I'm sure they would like to finish top 8 and have the prize money and the prestige that comes with winning it and all the rest of it, but they don't really care. They just care about the trophies at the end of it, and they will be there anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And just in passing, I mean, the teams they can overtake, we mentioned, is Atalanta and Leverkusen. We'll come into detail about it, but Leverkusen play Sparta Prague. They'll win. They should win that. And it's Barcelona against Atalanta. So probably Atalanta's the biggest risk of falling out, but then Real Madrid would have to hope Villa don't win, Monaco don't win, Feyenoord don't win, Lille don't win, Brest don't win, Dortmund don't win, and Bayern don't win. So it's gonna be tough for them to get in the automatic. So yeah, they'll just be there in the playoffs, we presume, waiting for probably a victim. Would you be as confident with Bayern Munich? I mean, if the cards fell, would you favour Bayern Munich against Man City?
I probably would, with the Man City as they are at the moment. Like, I don't think Bayern Munich are, an infallible side or anything like that. And you look at results, I suppose, like against Feyenoord, where they won 3-0 last week in Champions League. But again, you kind of feel like a lot of the big players come to the fore in really crunch knockout games, and they can step up when it matters most and all the rest of it. The qualifier would have there is that you are putting a massive, massive occasion, potential tactical battle, got to get the best out of everyone across 2 games, etc. And on one side you got Pep Guardiola, and on the other side Vincent Kompany. And whatever about jokes about him getting that job, the fact is he can't have the same sort of experience as Pep because he hasn't done it for as long. And if he's as good or not, you simply might not necessarily have the tools to fall back on because you haven't been in that situation before. So it would be a case of Bayern naming their strongest squad, playing their preferred way, and that's probably got to be the hope that it's enough. I imagine it probably would be because he's gotten some really good form out of some of those players, especially the attacking players this year. So I would say Bayern over 2 legs, but that's more to do with obviously where Man City are right now as a side.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
At your job, do you ever have to deal with a nose roller? How about a snub pulley? Well, if you're installing a new conveyor belt system, dealing with the different components can sound like you're speaking a foreign language. Luckily, you've got a team ready to help. Grainger's technical product specialists are fluent in maintenance, repair, and operations. So whenever you want to talk shop, just reach out. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.